Let me do one more thing, and then we're good. What is up, you guys? How you doing today? It is a couple of weeks before the 4th, so we're going to talk about wrestling like usual and get into it. Welcome to the wicked, Crazy Pinfall Podcast for for 6/23 of 2020. Hope everyone's doing okay. First off, let's have some positive stuff going on. Everything that's happening in the world, everybody, with the inappropriateness of everything in life. Just want to say everybody needs to come together and rise above. The reason being is because of the fact that we are a community and we need to pick up the people who have been taken down. I know from experience, from knowing people that have been hurt in those manners that people are saying, it's not the greatest things in the world, and that they just need people to lean on at times. So for all those allegations and stuff like that, that's all I'm going to say. I just want, positive things, and there won't be justice for DGMC. They're going to call you out that on Warren, aren't you? But anyways, let's get into wrestling. That's what we're here to do and have fun with. So I'm going to start with NXT. NXT started really interesting, though, because of the fact that they started with the men's tag team and ended with the women's tag team title, which is great because it actually showcased the women's title a lot more prevalently. Imperium Breezango, it was funny because of the fact that they upgraded Imperium's music. It was just funny as hell. And it's just going to be an interesting concept how if they keep doing this on a regular basis, Imperium takes a little of the control out there. Commentary is all about, Breeze and Fandango. Eichner's in control of most of the match. Breeze sends himself and Eichner over the top. Martel and Eichner throw Breeze into the plexiglass. It really looked good. It was a good spot right there. Martel in there doing a good amount of mat work. Fandango changes the momentum with a power slam, and then he clears the ring. And there he is standing tall. But when they get back from commercial, Martel's in control and tags Eichner. This match going back and forth was insane. The ending wasn't that great. Eichner hits a brain buster with and the impact was just insane. You could see like the whole body becoming like an accordion almost. And Eichner gets the DDT for the win after Fandango hits the last dance and it hits it on the mark. This is going to be a four-way dance regardless. You've got Birch and Lorton in there. You've got, Breezango. And then you have that new big and beefy tag team that's there. So Dream gets interviewed. Loomis puts a picture on there. Loomis is one funny cat. It literally, he just slides up kind of like, what's that game show? The one where he hit no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. I forget the name of it. And they have the little animated guys go up there and steal everything. He kind of reminds me of the whammy where it goes, rises up, puts something down, and rises back down. It's just going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But basically, Dream says he's all by himself. He doesn't want to work with anyone. He's a solo act. But these two are going to be an awesome team anyways. Going through everything. Priest having the momentum he had to take over was interesting because of the fact that it made everything a lot more real. And him and Dane going off on each other, it was interesting. Dane put a quote out saying that he's going to hurt everybody's favorites, which is great because it just makes it more, interesting. So it starts in a standoff. Dane is in control, focus on all in his efforts on Priest's back. Belly clap thrust. Well, bell clamp thrust kicks. Commentary talking about how his dad was facing Chuck Norris. If the world was at a nuclear standstill, Chuck Norris could save it. If Warren had to find somebody to face Goldberg to kick him in the ass, Chuck Norris could do it. If anything you could think of, the ending would be Chuck Norris could do it. So I mean that works out. What up, Timmy? um, you know, this match goes back and forth for a lot. Dane hits a leg top from on the back. He keeps control and focusing on the back for the most of the match. Especially with knees in the back. But Priest shows off his striking skills. But the three kind of attempt of the three amigos but it was belly to back version was really great by Dane. Priest shifts his weight for a crossbody. This is an important moment in the match because it's basically building up on Priest. Priest is using his background as a martial artist to do it. Priest hit with a pin kick out of 2. Dane uses his weight to launch himself across Priest. Pin 2. The Reckoning hits for the mark. Priest wins. This match was really good. Still shows Priest long after Balor, but it seems like he's going to be Grimes time according to what they're saying for on Wednesday, and we'll talk about that possibility. But Grimes time is just going to end up going slow. Xia Li and Aaliyah has been a fixture on TV for about a few months, and I'm surprised they're still pulling this out. I thought at least one point they would actually stop, but I guess not. Just to get Robert Stone some time too, that was great. I mean, the match was kind of short. It was a continuation basically off the series. Lee using her martial arts background, Aaliyah with just the Northern Lights. Lee in complete control of this match with every inch of her body being used as a weapon. Lee rolled up and Aaliyah wins after Stone starts vomiting profusely on the mat. I can't wait for Thatcher. I want him to be back in the ring so badly right now. Teaching them how to catch wrestle on the mat. Says it's clearly the mat's a rest because all the students have been crying. Undisputed Therapy. It's just them pointing out stuff, Where the hell is the Bengals jersey? Not today, Evan. Not today. It's in the wash. I'm going to get hell for that jersey all the time, ain't I? Anyways, Undisputed Therapy was kind of a funky thing. They were trying to put Strong back into the trunk, and he's like, okay, I'll do it, and doesn't. Then it pans over to a promo for Cole with the hourglass in the front. It's just interesting to see how they're trying to get all these big names dynamics. You got Lee, Gargano, Balor, and Cross all eyeing one person. So it's just going to be interesting how they pull it all around. But what the most interesting point about this segment is that, he said it's just going to be the same film, different scene. And then Lee comes out afterwards and then, it says he's eyeing, the title and that Cross won't be the one taking it. Lee then knocks that thing out, smashes it, and says tick-tock. And this could be a possible foreshadow for Lee losing due to Cross. Cole says he's at this point, way almost getting up to 390 days. So, I mean, it's interesting for him being the champion this long. Says that Cross doesn't deserve it because he won against Ciampa, that he's the greatest one of all time. And then the match set up for this Wednesday sets up perfectly. It was, Lee comes out, talks about how he's been eyeing Cole's title and Cole's titling his. To call the champ, Cole wants to be called champ, bye. It's a fun time watching NXT and seeing all these moving parts go. It really is. It's an intricate thing because you don't think about their top 5 stars going for one title or going for the same titles, because it just seems like all the other brands are doing it and NXT was trying to stay away from it, and now it looks like they're going towards that. Okay, disconnected. Sorry. Um, where Lee was basically taunting Johnny about everything. So it was really cool, really easy. Candice and him in the back going on in the background. So now we have a three-way duel to get an access point to get to see, Cole versus Lee or Cole versus Gargano or Balor. As much as I want to see Balor having the North American title, I would absolutely love seeing Lee versus Cole and Cole losing to Lee. That would be just insane. Scarlett sees the clock and crosswalks on it. Martinez is going to be awesome. I hope she does what Shayna does and run Rickshaw through the division and make it a lot more stronger. And Leon Ruff, holy crap, man. This guy takes more beatings from all three brands than anybody else in the world. It's like insane how things are going to be. I mean, what can you say of Leon Ruff? He took a beating from Cross, took a beating from Ciampa, and like multiple people on the main roster. And now he has a tank, a thick tank, going against Bronson Reed. Obviously, this was going to be a short match. Reed jumps off the top and squashes him. It was really short. Reed cuts a promo saying, "I want Cross." Said he's going to do the one thing nobody else calls out, and is calls him Cross. Someone keyed Priest's car, and later on they said it was Grimes. Santos Escobar comes out and talks about how people sees Luchador and that he only sees it as from the mask. Says he was told his dad he would be a leader, that he is a leader of leaders, and that he will leave a legacy. Maverick comes out and rushes out on Escobar, and it spills out to a 3-on-1. Escobar puts Maverick through a table using the Phantom Driver. The main event went really well. It was pretty much the only good night match for the most part for the night. If Cole was there, he would say it's boss time. Bayley and Sasha at this point were on a tear from Monday all the way to here. Bayley's hitting the plexiglass saying you're welcome for your jobs. NXT, it's basically NXT's past versus NXT's present, which is great. It's a different way of looking at things. So Banks is in control for the most part. Banks and Knox in the corner, and Banks has control. A bunch of combo pins. Shotzi in for a combo. Bayley is trash talking Shotzi. Commentary recaps all Bayley and Sasha's accomplishments. I mean, all of them. It was insane how much it is over time. Other than, putting an S on a word and have DMGC going off, this is going to be a rough week. Knox is in control, reaches for the tag, as Shotzi takes over, back to belly suplexes out by Banks, and at 2, Meteor by Banks at the angle in midair was amazing. It turned around. The miscommunication on tag to Knox in dual cannonballs. Knox choke slams, and Shotzi jumps off the top, dives the bodies across. Banks breaks the pin. The match is bloody awesome and is a royal clinic. It's a great thing to have the women's tag title as a main event thing. But Banks' statement wins it for them, and the match was extremely physical and everything. And then, as Bayley and Sasha have been doing, talking smack about everything, Io comes out and makes a statement saying, "This is my NXT," in front of everything, and this is probably going to be one of those things where it's going to be like a Mania type match whenever they put Io with Bayley and Sasha, or Sasha and Bayley just in general with Io. It was just interesting to see the dynamic between the three of them, because you have two top tier talents, former NXT Women's Champion and the current one, and they're pushing her over while they're floating around. And I would love to see Bailey versus Io, or Io versus Sasha. Mainly Sasha versus Io because of the styles. It would be so much awesome. Hey, Kristen, how you doing? So we're gonna go back to SmackDown now. They recapped about the whole thing with AJ and stuff like that. The locker room was all around there, and AJ's being a cocky son of a b. Potch. Uh, SmackDown is the house that AJ Styles built. Saying that the closest thing the locker room will get to it, that says the cream rises to the top. That sounds like a Vince Vince thing. You know, if you guys are gonna have a mod war, I'm just gonna know now. I'd rather know ahead of time. Um, he basically starts mocking Brian, telling him to put the belt on him, that it's the right thing to do. You know, then all of a sudden Riddle's music hits, goes, bro. Then Riddle makes his debut, says that, coming from another human being, it's a handout. And all Riddle says that he's the bro that runs the show. And this match that they set up was really great. AJ says, no shirt, no shoes, no IC title for you. And then Riddle comes out like a cannon, hits a German off the bat. He takes Styles and throws him around like a rag doll, being aggressive. Early kicks, early on. Kicks to Styles by Riddle. After a small amount of offense by Styles, front face lock by Styles. Riddle's going hard and taking the control till AJ hits a drop kick and Styles in control. Riddle actually turns, and Riddle with a right hand, and Corbin pushes him around like a rag doll, which everybody's now going to assume that the first feud he really goes through is Corbin, and I really hope not. I really don't. It wouldn't make any sense after giving him a chance to go after AJ and winning clean. Yes, winning clean. Snap suplex by Styles. The pace was slow and methodical at one point, and AJ was in full control, landing a knee on the mat. Dragon screw by Styles. AJ's focusing mostly on the leg for the most term, and Riddle wins with the Bo Derek. So if this is gonna set Riddle up for a IC championship, let him, Brian, and Gulak go at it with AJ at Extreme Rules. That would be really interesting. Shorty G / Chad Gable versus Mojo Rawley. It's sure really a short match. Inside Cradle wins. That's about it. Now, a lot of people said this is the pro. Oh, God, DMGC. Holy moly. Sorry. Miz TV basically is Miz making fun of Otis and recapping how they lost. Don't make me get my title out. I got my title upstairs. I can go run and grab it on the show. Y'all just be sitting here for a little bit. It's just basically the whole premise of the show of Miz TV was making fun of Mandy until they got Sonya out there. This is actually going to set up them for a match that should have been on a pay-per-view for a while, and it actually is a great thing because let Sonya beat the crap out of Mandy, and it'll get both of them over. My lawyer is calling. Oh boy. Why is your lawyer calling? Oh, this place is lively as hell. Anyways, with Sonya being called a quote-unquote fighter, the segment was really good. It pushes the storyline further, but I want this to end at Extreme Rules and to have them go the separate way so Sonya could focus on going after Bayley. Because Bayley later on the night said she's beaten everyone, but Sonya wasn't even on the list of names that they did. So, New Day, Lucha House Party. This is basically what Bayley's saying about how she's beaten everybody. You know, congrats. Cole says congratulations to Bayley for 250 days. Graves gets shirts thrown at him like usual. The match with the Lucha House Party was okay. It ended with the midnight ending, but the aftermath was Cesaro going after and Nakamura going after them. And they're right. They've been overlooked and they should have been having a title shot already. It's just ridiculous how things are going. So oh boy. Thursday Night Warren's going to be fun, isn't it? Just, making everything a lot more fun for them. And I hope Cesaro and Nakamura actually get the match they well deserve. They are so talented, so well rounded. They should do it. And then right after they come back from commercial, everybody's looking around looking for Nikki. And, well, they find Nikki. So Sheamus is talking about the promo for the toast. Nikki comes out of nowhere. Nikki and Sasha go at it like they have been. It seems like they've done this a couple of times for this. And I can't wait to see the team that actually knocks them off. And I hope it's Alexa and Nikki if they do it on SmackDown. Meteor for the win. Sasha wins. And then we get into the Firefly Funhouse. I want to point out a lot of things on this because I said this on Friday night in the chat, and this makes a lot of sense. Bray says he mastered the dark arts. He learned how to knit. Rambling Rabbit comes out and talks about the loss for Braun. Braun's like a heelish in this, where he comes out and he walks out, and he's just. When I was watching it, the feed kind of started lagging a little bit. Braun says he's done with Bray. The story's over. That he wasn't lying. Bray says he wasn't lying to Resurrection, and holy shiznit. He brings out the Wyatt family Bray. In order for us to move on, this is quoted, in order for us to move on, we have to go back where it began. All you have to do is follow the buzzers. Here we go. Now, the point I'm going to make about this is this, and it's insane because a lot of people I agree with me in it. I don't know how many people haven't. Matt Hardy has the 3 faces of Hardy. Foley has the 3 faces of Foley. Bray has 3 faces now. It seems like there's a trend going on, and Foley was the first one. So you've got the Firefly Funhouse, you have the Fiend, and now you have the Wyatt one. When are they? If they're going to save the Fiend till SummerSlam, and they're going to keep this going after Extreme Rules 2 SummerSlam, please put the Fiend in it, because that would make more sense. You're showing 3 phases of Bray's character. Why not? I mean, if you go 4 and you bring Husky Harris out of nowhere, out of the depths of death, I mean, come on now. I mean, it's unbelievable. You have to see the aspect of, as a performer, and I'm not an actor or obviously or anything, it's amazing to see the story continuity that he's doing. All you have to do is run, and that's it. Raw was really good. I even said this last night, and if they're handing out title matches, I'll take one. If I have to walk into the PC, fly all the way down to Florida, get the wellness test, and walk in and be like, I want a title match, and I get it, sure, I'll take it. 6 feet, 280, why not? But I know I'd probably get Claymore within about a couple of minutes, and I'd be on Leon Ruffed out of the building. The crowd's excited when Drew walks out, but Dolph comes out and says he's owed a title shot for creating Drew. And then Drew points out about the nickname of the Scottish Psychopath. I told my dad about that nickname. He had no clue what I was talking about. The match is Extreme Rules. It's going to be Ziggler and McIntyre, which is great. But, I mean, what does this mean if it's, if Warren shows up or Sean shows up for a title shot, I guarantee Warren would probably win with a jackhammer. I don't know. Nia shows up, props the chairs, and then it cuts to commercial. Nia basically talking about Charlotte, how Charlotte always gets what she wants, how the ref interfered and bias. Truth comes out, says he's got a match against Tozawa. It's basically promoting both, and the ninjas come out and runs them out. Charlotte comes out. Nia looks PO'd. She starts talking about their families. But I really wish they pointed out that about, instead of pointing out Charlotte's father, who her family bloodline is, and shows the differences between the two. So, I mean, it works really well. And then Nia basically works on her shoulder and she says, Charlotte can't beat her. I can be finally happy. Yeah, I'm clapping. The rant that I've been on for the last couple of weeks about the Profits is dead. So the Gronk in the Profit Raiders ones is done. They finally have a match. And oh my God, it's good. Really, really good. Like, if you put Ivar and Dawkins in a singles match and let them go and let be extremely physical and literally go, that match, I guarantee, will probably get close to match of the year that year they do this. I'm not talking about putting them as singles competitors. I'm talking about keep them as a tag team in order for them to push, but make them do single individual competitions. And I'm not talking about this whole anything you can do, I can do better bullshit. I can't get demonetized. I have no money off of this. I could get stracked, but whatever. It's literally would be an amazing match. You have Ivar, who's very big, athletic, and Dawkins also. The start of the match was extremely physical. Thor hammer right off the kick 2 count forward and the pace picks up. Ford on the outside, Eric catches him and throws him into Dawkins. Ivar in control of Ford, and the tags are in and out on both sides. As Ivar gets in and puts him in the quarter, Joe is having so much fun with this. The commentary on this was insane. It was really good. Dawkins becomes on a roll. Profits do the Viking experience, which when I saw that, I was like, holy crap. Like, what? You kidding me? They did their finisher on and I was just like, what? Cartwheels all around galore. Eric's basically with the swing, and in comes Ivar, and they are on a roll basically. Ivar off the top misses a splash. Cash in hits the number splash. Profits win. According to Bomb Slam, that was great. Profits were celebrating, and they get jumped by Garza and Andrade, which, if you put, like I said, Dawkins and Ivar in there, the possibilities are endless. Wow, it's going slow a little bit. Going through this quick. Seth, in theory, backstage, he's got a message for Ray. Seth's promo, something of a life, destiny, and role. He didn't want to be the Messiah. He says that it says whatever happens to him and Dom is his fault to Ray. The promo was great, clean. There's a bunch of memes starting to be developed out of it. It's just really interesting to see how it all works out, with Seth being very sociopathic, articulate. It's like he's a serial killer that understands what he's doing is wrong, but wants to justify the means of it. Other than that, says part towards the tail end, the good is coming. He says legends never die, but they sure let out their welcome, which is chilling. It's almost borderline what Randy does half the time. You know, Charlotte is asked if she wants to postpone her match. Charlotte's fine. Charlie moves over to Zelina and, Garza and Andrade, and Garza is being creepy at this point. It doesn't make sense for him to keep hitting on her because supposedly he's got a girlfriend or a fiance, whatnot, and Andrade. But the line of the night was $2 chuck by Zelina. Holy crap. You wouldn't even expect it. They if they're on the same page, they're extremely dangerous. Speaking of Andrade and Garza. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out while we're talking about Zelina is that her and Alistair have a YouTube page, and they posted a few days ago. They got a tattoo up in Salem, Massachusetts, and that place looks awesome. So if you ever go out there and look up their stuff, look at the YouTube one where she gets a tattoo on her thumb. It's interesting how the tattoo parlor there does everything. Asuka versus Charlotte. This match for all intents purposes was the match of the night, regardless about the Profits match or anything. But this literally was the match of the night. It had Nia watching. They're putting pressure on the shoulder injury. The K tape is basically a key point target on the entire match. Commentary is having fun watching it. Asuka's in control for the majority of it. Charlotte with the head scissors that uses her length strength to it. She misses the moonsault and lands on her feet as they cut to commercial. Charlotte is in full control. The chops are raining down everywhere, on Asuka. Asuka with the German. She uses her strike skills as Charlotte kicks Asuka. The shoulders in the turnbuckle. Charlotte blocking the armbar. There's a 4 until the 4 count. Charlotte hits the spear. Asuka hooks the armbar, and Charlotte shows her power as Asuka wins and gets Charlotte off. Gets Charlotte by tap out. It's nice to see that it was nice to see that they should have done this on a pay-per-view. This type of match should have been a big field pay-per-view match if they could have just drawn this out instead of gunning it real quickly. But it's nice to see Asuka have the one person that she couldn't finally beat. It was kind of like how Becky couldn't beat Asuka, and finally she gets to beat Asuka. Nia says it's a shame to kick the queen while she's down. I mean, my God. If you're heading towards Charlotte versus Nia, that's gonna be one hell of a match. And I hope they do it at Extreme Rules. I truly believe this. Throughout all wrestling in 2020, match and promo work, Edge and Randy are the best thus far, almost 7 months into a year. The stuff they have put out has been extremely remarkable, and it's amazing to see these two guys go at it and let it rip. Now, understandably, Edge is hurt, but the way they're playing it off, it seems like Edge doesn't care and that he's willing to go the extra mile after having surgery to literally fight another fight. He acknowledges that he lost at Backlash. And he talks about how he knew that he tore the injury he has when Randy hit the RKO. He basically also entails, just by his body language, his emotions and everything, how disappointed he is. And he shouldn't, because the performance was great. He said he also should have saw the low blow, which is understandable, because these guys were that match was insane, and they were going move for move for move. He says it's not going to happen again. He reminds himself that he needs to wake up a side of him that's been dormant. Edge is literally emotional, He's very poetic, suspenseful, thought provocative, calculated. He's thankful in that he's woken up. He says he's gonna make sure that Randy wasn't born, that his father Bob Orton was shooting blanks that day when he was conceived, that he woke up the evil in him, that he woke up the rated R superstar, and that the pain that Randy is gonna receive is just intolerable. They fade out of Edge's promo and they go into Randy's, and Randy says he will do whatever it takes to survive. He wishes Edge and Christian a full recovery as long as they do it far, far away from him. These two promos show you why these two guys, in this stage of their careers, are the top guys of the year for their matches, their promos, especially the WrestleMania match, the Backlash match, and if they are going to do another one, Extreme Rules, whether, the injury Edge has or not, he listens to the doctors or not, or does whatever he does, it's extremely impeccable. Try to not tell me that I'm right about this. Tell me that I'm not completely accurate on this assessment. The storyline between the beginning of from the Rumble all the way to WrestleMania, they made it all about how Edge was addicted to the fans, the addicted to the life, addicted to, the adrenaline of that, bringing Beth in it. And then they talk about how he hasn't done a whole wrestling match after a certain point, hasn't been on a full mat match and everything. And now they're talking about doing another one, which is the rubber match. And if they do this and Edge gets back, quick than it's supposed to be, that match is going to be insane, dude. And it's interesting to find out how things work out. And I can't wait to see how they play this out. Now, barring any situation, especially with the comment that Edge said that he is upset because of Jay, that they don't call him, they didn't even say he was his brother. They said they've been together for years. And if anything is indicating, if they decide to put Edge in Extreme Rules, not caring about his own well-being and doing non-sanction, the only way I could see this match ending for a rubber match is doing a TLC. It's the only way. Let Edge finish this rivalry the way he should. And that a TLC match is what the match he was part of and an innovator of. I could see that the only being way to do it. And the way that match goes, it will be insane. Charlie ends up trying to talk to Charlotte, and then Nia takes her out. And then the ninjas start piling around. Tozawa versus Truth. Tozawa wins after Lashley interferes and puts him in a full Nelson. Tozawa pins him and runs out. Natty with Lana versus Liv. There's not really that much. Liv taps out. They botched Liv completely. They built her up and destroyed her. They had the perfect thing going into her coming back, and then it just completely destroyed everything. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody doing caps. That's fine. They botched it. They should have just made her a lot more stronger, kept giving her squash matches and stuff, and it's just sad. Show is saying that after people going after his friends, that he's here to hurt them, that he's an angry giant. Liv and Ruby walk past each other, and if they do a tag with them and bring them back, that would be insanely fun to watch. Ridiculously fun to watch, honestly. Now, I can't wait to see what they do with them. I pray that they'll be the ones to take the titles away from Sasha and Bayley, because that would give the women's tag titles a lot more fresh life, and then just circulating between three teams. Now that you have Tegan and Shotzi in the mix, you could do something like an elimination chamber if you wanted to for the tag belts. Just pull the elimination chamber out of nowhere or something like that, and just do it and have it the women's tag match in there. So I mean, it's just insane to see how that goes. Bring me a chili dog, damn it. If it makes you funny, I'm going to teach you one word for today, because I don't know if Sean's listening or so. Other than that, if they do this right, they should be able to have fun with it. It'll be good. I'm hoping they do right. Flair comes out. It doesn't make sense for him being there after the 2 positive COVID tests. I just, hope that they do something different. Randy takes nods to Evolution, nods about Legacy, says it's nostalgic, that he's fired up. The desire to be once called the Legendary Killer comes in. Just cementing his legacy is it. That he's going to push to be called the Legend Killer. And then Show comes out, calls Randy a parasite at this point. Says he just lashes onto the host and devours the internal aspects and throws the carcass away. Says that Edge is going to make Randy pay for everything he's done. Randy says Show is a Hall of Famer. Says he would say a legend. Randy says it would be tragic. And that the same fate of Edge and Christian would happen to him. Me speaking about the Show. Are we going to talk about food now? I should have known. I have donuts here. Randy says, I gave him a shot. Randy's yelling, I'm motivated, focused, etc. Says what happens next is on him. And just to foreshadow what might happen for Extreme Rules. So it's going to be fun to see that. Sasha takes control of the Iconics for the women's tag titles. But Billie Kay hates the Shades of K right off the bat. Iconics completely in control for the most part. As Billie tries to take over and Royce hits the Fisherman Suplex. Bayley tags Sasha in and knees to the face. Sasha hits the bank statement. And Bayley and Sasha win. This match was real short. And that was the theme for the most part of it. Sasha makes such a promo so people think that she's going to challenge Bayley for the title and swerves everybody and wants Asuka. Asuka says, you are not my boss and you're not the boss of her, and accepts it. So we got Sasha and Bayley. We got Sasha and Asuka for the Raw Women's title at Extreme Rules, which is going to be great. Donuts. Other than that, having Bayley and Sasha having 2 brands, full belts, would be interesting. If they do, go back to what I was saying about Ruby and Liv, if they do that, I wish that they would bring Sarah back, but that won't happen. Cruz versus Benjamin was short. The main thing was it's sending up Apollo versus Lashley for the United States title. That he's only had it for a couple of weeks and stuff. It's just sad that they're gonna try to take it away from him and stuff. Ray comes out for his promo, says he's worried about Dom, where he was heading. He was trying to avenge what happened to him. It's not even a confident dad he seems to be getting out of the situation. He says that he's more worried that Dom made his mom and him more worried. And Dom and As knew about all the risk. Ray was pissed. He was a pissa, but trying to get across that no matter what happens to Dom, that he loves him. Ray says that he has this, that he has to do it himself, and Dom says he knows where he needs to be. Dom's basically saying that if Seth wants to fight a family, he fights the entire family. Seth says that he wants a fight to put in. Sorry, stuttering today. That if they want to fight, putting in a situation, or does he going into the ring as Ray would make Dom the sacrifice, or is this just fate and destiny? Two eyes are better than one. Seth says Dom fights. Black and Carrillo come out. Black rolls out and takes out the Disciples. Rollins on his own 4-on-1, turns the tables. Seth's trying to do the same thing to Dom, and Raw fates. And the show was pretty good overall. It was decent. Kind of one of those things you just like. You were wondering how it all played out. So hopefully from this we see Ray versus Seth versus Black and Carrillo versus his Disciples. You've got Apollo versus Lashley, possibly for Extreme Rules. Sasha versus Asuka, which I have a funny feeling they might end up doing a double duty, because they have done something like that before and have the women's tag titles defended at Extreme Rules. And then you could go from there to Drew and Ziggler. And then you're probably going to have a 4-way match for Extreme Rules for the IC title, which is Gulak, Bryan, Riddle, AJ. So, other than Bray and Braun, how are you going to fill the card out? In which matches? So, if Edge and Orton happens, the TLC is the only way I can think it happen. The Taker documentary itself was insane. The time lapse of it was really good. It was like 3 or 4 years of his life, and then finally realizing it, that he can finally come to peace at it. And the Boneyard match was possibly his last match, which now people are believing it is. My favorite Taker match, though, I've seen is the Taker match where he, as a kid, and I'll give you two of them. One is an adult, one is a kid. As a kid, I thought he was really dead. Was him being in a casket match, and Taker loses. And then they do the whole video thing of, the lightning bolt hitting the casket, and his body goes out of nowhere, and everybody back then tries to play where's Taker, find Taker kind of thing, kind of like where's Waldo. So that for me was an interesting thing. As an adult, it has to possibly be, and everybody will go towards the Shawn match. They will go towards the Triple H match. They will go towards other things. I think for me personally, it was more so. I'm trying to think. It's on the tip of my tongue. It was more so the programs he did with Punk, and the one he did with Punk was interesting. Just because of the fact that Punk was probably supposed to be the closest one at that point to break the streak. How it was built up and everything, and the match itself was really good. It's kind of sad to see that it took him this long to turmoil between both of them, and how much he was in pain, how much Taker took all of the things. And if he's going away right now happy after the Boneyard match being the last match, all power to it, man. We should be celebrating. That's a positive we should be doing. We should be celebrating somebody's life in their body of work, rather having people, read Twitter every day and seeing upsetting stuff. Celebrate a guy's legacy. Celebrate a guy's life, his work, his body, everything. There's rumors going around that people believe that if they do the Hall of Fame next year, that Taker should be the only one nominated and put in. And I'm all for that. I have a feeling that at Survivor Series, if it's still at the PC, they will do something for him to get to 30 years. But I don't think he'll be in a match. And if they do anything for match-wise, if he wants a match, it'll be the cinematic style like it was for the Boneyard. But I think more so it's going to be like what Austin does for appearances and stuff. He is literally the one constant in wrestling. He's literally the one professional I've been watching throughout my majority of my life. So, like, he's been in this business for WWE for 30 years. I was like around between 7 and 9 when he started. Let that sink in. How long a longevity that is. Let that sink in how long he's worked and how hard he's worked. It's amazing to see a guy with integrity and character to think about his profession other than everything else. I can relate. Sometimes I'll put my work before everything else. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing more and more that I need to balance that all out. And that's what makes you appreciate about things in life. And that's what we should do. Like go to see people's graduations. Go to birthday parties. Be around friends and family. Especially during COVID. Especially during now. Caring about people who you care about on a daily basis. Talking about their health. Having a friend who's stressed out and let them even just call you randomly. Or DMing them and saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, wondering how you're doing. Those are the calls I absolutely like doing. It's just interesting to see how it all happens out. Taker is one of those guys. He values his friendships and values everything else. And there's not a lot of people like that. I was watching episode 5. And I posted that tweet about how I want to have people's respect as a content creator here. And I want people to understand that. And I get I have people's respects. And I get because of being in the chats and all that stuff. And I understand all that. I'm just starting this out. So whether I do this for a year or 10 years, we all need to strive for something that will go towards that goal. I've been at the same job for 10 years. It's a hard thing to get people's respects, but it's even harder to actually keep that respect. Watching that documentary made me think that it's something like that as a profession, whether you're doing your job or not, means a lot more than anything else. Tomorrow night on NXT, to quote a line from SRS, there's going to be a lot of beef, sirloin son of a bitches, sitting in that ring. you possibly have right now in this company 3 of the top 10 talents on one brand going after the longest reign title other than Becky, but I'm talking about active wise because Becky's no longer around, on all 3 brands. I'm going to honestly say this. I will be on the record to prove this. I so heartily believe Keith Lee is coming out of this. I dreamly, if you were booking a fantasy book, Balor versus Cole would be it. But with the stakes this high and Cole and Lee being on the roll as he is for so long as he has been, and so over and so well liked and regarded, they're going to give this to Lee, and Cole's going to lose to Lee. You can put it on there. You can book it. And that's pretty much going to be it. Now, if Lee loses the North American title, the only way I could see that happening is Cross. Him and Cross going at it would be awesome. But the way all these intricate parts are going, how would you fit Cross into this when you have a 3-way dance between 3 of your major guys on this brand? And probably, since Cross is now trying to establish himself, even though he's been established outside of the company, possibly being one of the top guys in a month. Beating Ciampa, which is one of their top tier guys ever, is big. But you got to make sure he beats the guys that are current. So, with that said, I'm looking for Lee to win tomorrow night. With a couple of minutes left, the one word I know Sean's probably listening and wants I'm going to teach is what dunkies or dunks means. I don't know if you guys have these here. That's what dunks means. Around here, when we don't say Dunkin' Donuts, we call it dunks. So anytime you hear me say dunks or anything like that, that's what it means. But I want to say thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everything. Just do me a favor, spread the word. Word of mouth gets around much easier. Hit Twitter up, all that stuff. Slap the bell on there for subscription. Let you know what's going on here. And just, whenever I go live or hit the show. Also, I'm going to shout out to Warren for doing an amazing job last Wednesday in the seat for Sean. The compliment he gave Sean is accurate. And like I said, I look up to Warren and Sean, so hopefully I can meet their standards eventually. Hopefully. So right after you hit the bell, you hit me up on Twitter. I'm thinking about executing the Patreon all together, and then just have Instagram on there or something like that. I don't know. But also in the description below, go to Fightful and BelltoBelles for the best source for your wrestling insight. Bellstobelles for the women's stuff, but Fightful all around for MMA, boxing, and everything. Also, check out the content that they got coming up, with tomorrow with the Wednesday Night Wars. And they have Louie, Warren, and Alex there. Sean's taking a break for about. And then Friday, Sean and Warren are taking the Super Chat train around all the way up there. The Super Chats have been flying like crazy in those rooms. And same with Warren's. Warren's got a show on Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Check it out. You could find these guys. Their Twitter handles are on there. But go to Fightful's Facebook page also. Just join up there. I'm there also. Also, Fightful Select. Become a Patreon member. They have said that they're going to be integrating soon to a different platform, but as of right now, there are 40 Patreon members away for Fightful Select for 800. Let's get to 800, and Sean Ross Sapp will be wearing a Red Sox jersey, custom Red Sox jersey. And then hopefully when that happens, he could do it with me, and then I'll have a Patriots, I'll have a custom jersey somehow. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate everything you guys do. Much love. Do something good for every day. Stay positive. We have to stay positive for each other because of the fact that a lot of times we are not, in this world and society, between the year we've had between COVID and everything, we are the only way if things can get worse if we deteriorate and tear each other apart rather than keeping each other together. I tip my hats to you guys. I appreciate all the support. Much love.